Believe it or not, the lures you are looking at right here are some of the worst rated lures on the Walmart app. Wow. There's one. Oh, got one. Got one. He came up. I'm going to give it a 5 stars. Believe it or not, the lures you are looking at right here are some of the worst rated lures on the Walmart app. I'm not even joking. Welcome back to a new series with pretty respectable names like Rapala and Lunkerhunt. And this is obviously the Walmart dollar one, but we'll get to that. Basically, my idea with this is we're gonna go to several stores, several different locations, several different platforms, several different websites, wherever you can rate fishing gear. And what we're gonna do is pick out, I don't know, 2 to 3 different items that I want to rate myself. We're gonna look at the rating that the website leaves, and then we're gonna actually rate it ourselves after fishing with it for a little bit. So these 3 are some of the worst rated lures that were on the Walmart website. Believe it or not, it was honestly hard to find what's called ratings for anything. Like everything just had 5 stars, but these 3, they stood out. They had lower than 5 stars, so these are the 3 that I chose. So the first lure we are gonna go over is this dollar chatterbait. So looking at the reviews here, we got a 3.1 star rating, which is not the best. Could be worse though, but it's 10 reviews. Parts bait only, okay? Not worth it unless you want it just for the skirt. Doesn't retrieve like a buzz bait. It runs under the surface, and while under the surface doesn't run true. The skirt falls off, head very easy. Good buy if you're wanting parts to buy your own. Alright, Timothy. It works with a trailer. He says it works with the trailer. Maybe you gotta try that. I don't know, we'll see. Here we go. Decent buzz bait. The price/SKU tag is a bit hard to get off. And don't mess with the rubber band that holds the little hairy things on it. Okay. Parts bait only, not worth your time. Oh wait, that's Timothy again. Doesn't work right. It doesn't work like a buzz bait at all. It swims a few inches under the surface instead of on top of the water. Lure is very low quality. Don't spend your money. And then just a couple more reviews. So what it seems like is this lure is getting a bad rap because it's cheap and it falls apart. That's what I've seen so far, that it falls apart. Now, have people found success and caught fish with it? Yes. We're gonna find out. We're gonna put it to the test. We're gonna cast it out. We're gonna see if we can't catch a fish with it. Before we do that, let's go on to the other ones. So looking at this, the Finesse Craws have a 3-star review, with one being a 5-star review and one being a 1-star. Now let's go over the 1-star review because that's what brought down the review. My favorite crawfish lure was out of stock, so I bought this 3-pack. The good part is that the bass bit very quickly. The bad part is that the lure broke just as I pulled the fish out of the water. All that was left on the line was the eye of the lure, and now my bass is swimming around with a lure in its lip, or in his lip. All right, Nancy, I could definitely see why that might be an issue. So there's not much to go off of here. So as long as the lure doesn't break and we don't have any other issues, I don't see why this couldn't be a 5-star, but we'll find out. And now we're on to the most expensive, and sure enough, the lowest rated, which is the jointed floating Rapala, with a 2-star rating, with nothing underneath, but 3 stars from Matthew and 1 star from Greg. Now, I don't know why they would put this, but I guess we're about to find out. So the first issue I'm apparently going to run into is this is hard to get off. We'll find out. Gosh darn. Well, no. Oh, hold on. There's some paper stuck to it, but honestly, that wasn't that bad. That wasn't that bad. This is coming off pretty well. It's not as bad as they said it was. Alright, well, we got everything on. Let's see how she performs. So they're saying, okay, yeah. Wow. So that is one issue that we did run into, or it said it was going to run into. And that was that the it doesn't really swim on the surface of the water. It can't, like, I can't get it to, come on. There we go. Nope, it's sinking again. Yeah, it's not really, it's not doing buzzbait things. This is not doing what I anticipated it to do. Yeah, it's swimming under the surface of the water. That's not what a buzzbait's supposed to do. A buzzbait's supposed to be on top of the water. Well then, this is definitely a big issue. Also, the color, a little bit strange. I mean, I guess it's fine if you're technically throwing a topwater and it's moving, because usually the fish won't really care about the color as much if it's a topwater and it's moving fast. But considering that, well, I can't get this thing to actually work like a topwater, doesn't help. Yeah, no, I mean, maybe we gotta reel it fast. Maybe we gotta. Oh, there we go. Oh, nope. No, come on. Come on. We gotta bring it in Mach 5, and then it actually works like a proper buzzbait. You can do it, little buddy. I believe in you. Yeah. All right, there we go. It's finally working. There we go. We're on. No, hold on. There we go. Now we're on the surface. So what I'm learning is if your gear ratios don't start with an 8, you're gonna have trouble getting this thing to the surface. That's what I'm learning. So that was mentioned in the reviews, that it doesn't like to sit on the surface. It actually likes to swim underneath, which is kind of the whole purpose of a buzzbait. But you know, it's fine. There we go. All right, y'all have to hear me out. I'm cooking here. So this is the goat, right? And basically, hold on. I found it's very light and buoyant to the point where you could use it on a topwater. Now, if I throw this on the back of it, technically, it should be more buoyant, right? I'm cooking here. Hold on, I'm cooking. Let me cook. Y'all are looking at the dish way too early. I'm still cooking. You know what I'm saying? Gosh darn, I'll tell you what. Z-Man, you have the strongest baits on planet Earth. Because I wanted to rip a piece off and it... How? This is ridiculous. All right, now we're cooking. Hear me out. Now we're cooking. Because now we should be more buoyant. Oh yeah, look at it. Look at it. It's actually sinking more. I thought this would work. Don't throw a trailer on this. It only hinders it. It only hinders the lure. Don't throw a trailer. Don't. Gosh darn it. Alright, hold on. Let me bring this in. I thought I was cooking. It appears I wasn't even in the kitchen. I'm giving it 10 more casts to stay on the surface. That's what I should do. This is wild. You ever have trouble keeping a topwater on the surface? Yeah, exactly. Like, I know this thing was $1, but like, there's like four pieces to it. I feel like you should be able to figure out a way to make it actually work, right? Or am I the crazy one? I basically could go buy a spinnerbait and do the same thing, because I have to reel it so fast anything would sit on the surface. This is wild. Now let's take it to yeah, I can't even speak. I'm so dumbfounded how this thing doesn't stay on top of the water. I can't speak anymore. Now let's go over several parts of the lure, which means, you know, when I go to buy a lure, what do I look at? I look at the price, I look at what it can do, I look at if it can catch fish. Now the issue is if this thing could stay on the surface, it could 100% catch a fish. It's just a generic buzzbait. There's nothing with that. The issue is it doesn't operate like a generic buzzbait. It operates like a spinnerbait, which it is not. So that, for one, brings it down. Obviously, it's only $1, which is really, really nice and efficient when you need a topwater lure. And as for the spinnerbaits, the dollar spinnerbaits, those things are great. People sleep on them all the time for no reason. The dollar spinnerbaits are incredible. But as for this lure, it is a heavy, heavy miss. Even for $1, I don't want to pay for this because it doesn't work. I'm never going to throw this again. I don't even know where I could start to fix this. Like, it feels like this is way too heavy. This skirt, it feels like if I catch one fish, it's going to come right off. Yeah, I barely pulled, and that thing is coming off. The hook, I mean, the hook is decently sharp, but, you know, it's only $1. You have to remember that, but even with that, I can't get this thing, like, 3 stars honestly feels way too high for this thing. I couldn't get it to stay on top of the water. Could it catch a fish? Sure, but it wasn't working like the lure is supposed to, and that's like the main purpose when you go to review is like, is it working like it's supposed to? Yes or no? And I'm gonna have to say no. So I'm gonna give this thing, honestly, I'll be generous and give it a 1.5 stars. So I don't know what else to say. This thing is just rough. It is a rough lure. Some of y'all in the comments are gonna be saying like, oh, it's my favorite topwater lure. If you manage to get this thing to work, props to you. Props to you, my guy. But unfortunately, in my opinion, this thing sucks. Don't buy the dollar buzzbait. Go buy an actual quality one. You'll have a lot better chance of catching a fish. Moving on to our next lure, it's the Lunker Hunt Finesse pre-rigged crawfish. Now this setup's quite interesting because it's on a Ned rig kind of setup with this crawfish. First off, from first glance, it looks incredible. I can already tell this could probably catch fish. Can it actually though? I guess there's one way to find out. So if y'all remember, the only bad review with it was that it broke while someone had a fish on, which is gonna really, really suck. And you know, I would leave a 3-star review if the thing broke on a fish on me. So we're gonna see. If it doesn't break, at least we did better than that. So obviously one thing is with it is a Ned rig setup, so obviously when you're fishing grass, it ain't gonna be the best situation for you. But that's basically my decision to fish here. Like, I didn't have to fish in this area. I could fish somewhere without grass. So obviously that's not the lure's fault. That's my choice. So I've had to rehook this thing several times. I don't know if y'all can see that, but it's already shredded up and it's already like coming apart. Like, this soft plastic is not very durable. So that's definitely a downside to this. And I haven't caught a fish yet. Like, if I was catching fish and it was falling apart, I'd say all right. But I haven't caught a fish yet. All right, so another thing that I found is, I don't know if y'all can see that, but on the tip here of the Ned rig, it's already getting scuffed pretty badly, and I haven't gone through too many rocks. There's one. There we go. Caught one lacking on the Lunker Hunt pre-rigged finesse craws. Oh, and that hook came basically right out. Alrighty. So that is a fish for the Lunker Hunt craw. Send him back. He gone. So if y'all could see here, this thing is basically getting destroyed. And it's been one fish, which it was getting destroyed even before that one fish, but I don't know if y'all could see that, but that craw is just mangled up. Also, a personal opinion, that weed guard right there, kind of pointless. I don't really see it doing much. It doesn't feel like it's doing much. You might as well just not have it. It honestly got in the way of my hook. That's all it did. So, I don't know. We'll give it a couple more casts, and then I'll give my review. Alrighty, well, haven't done much talking because I haven't done much catching. Other than that one bass, nothing much. Nothing much in the old craw. So I guess let's bring this guy in and let's talk about him just a little bit. So he had a 3-star review with the only bad rating of it being that the lure broke. It broke off on a fish. Now, did mine break off? No, which is good. So we can't relate to the previous reviews. But as for my own, you know, little wear damage on the Ned rig head, the grass protector, which, I mean, the weed guard, I don't know, it doesn't feel like it's doing that much. Like, it is doing a little bit, but you can honestly do without it. And my biggest complaint is honestly the lure. It's very flimsy. Well, not super flimsy to the point where it breaks off immediately, but it definitely feels like it could go through only a couple fish, which, if you know me, I love bandito bugs, and they are known for breaking on like 1 to 2 fish. The difference is those things can catch giant fish. Those things I find are the best soft plastic out there, just because personally I've caught so many fish on them. I love them. But when it comes to a lure like this, I mean, yeah, I could see it working. It looks fine. It performed fine. It caught me a fish. It's still intact. So looking at the rating, it said, what was it? It was a 3. Honestly, I think I'd bump it up to like a 4. I think that's a fair rating. A 4 is a fair rating for this lure, especially since it's only $3. If I remember correctly, this lure is only like $3, which is pretty cheap. You know, I guess it's kind of expensive if you look at it in the grand scheme of like soft plastics, but you gotta remember you get a free hook with it. Well, not really free, but you know, you get a hook included with it, so that ups the price. So it's not just soft plastics you're paying for, you're also paying for the hook. And it's pre-rigged, so you can just start fishing right away, which is really, really nice for new anglers who don't really know how to set up a lot of rigs. So this helps out a lot when it comes to that. So honestly, I don't see why not. I don't see why I couldn't give this a 4 out of 5 stars. So, the craw gets a 4 out of 5. So our last lure is this Rapala. Now, it has the highest price point and the lowest rating. Now, we don't know actually why it has the lowest rating. It just does, because both the reviews that this lure has is a 3-star with no actual text and a 2-star with no actual text. So I guess it's up to us to figure out why this lure has a 2-star review. So right off the bat, I mean, it feels a little, you know, light, but it's supposed to be floating, so I guess that makes sense. As for the action, I mean, looks fine. Nothing crazy, but I think it looks good. You know, it's a classic jointed Rapala. You know what I'm saying? It's just a classic jointed Rapala. Maybe it's the color. Maybe people don't like the color. I mean, at that point, you chose this color, so I don't know why you're reviewing it badly because of the color. Personally, I'm not a big fan of this color, but hey, maybe I'll start being after this. Maybe I'll give this thing a 5-star review and we'll be catching fish left and right. Oh, y'all see him? That's Bruce right there. You see Bruce? He's a snapping turtle. He lives in this pond. He's chill. Oh, got one. Got one. He came up. Oh, as it was sitting there, the floating. Oh, they're on to something. Let's go. See, that's what I'm talking about. That took no time to catch our first fish. Let's go. The Rapala strikes quite quickly. Actually, the fastest out of all 3. Considering one of them didn't catch a fish at all, you know, we don't talk about that lure. It's gone. Another one. Another one. That was back to back. I just casted this out. I just casted this thing out. What? What is going on? I was casting the craw all throughout here. Y'all saw that. As always, name them in the comments. This thing is on fire right now. This is now the 2nd fish in a row. What? Yeah, like I said, maybe it's time to give this thing a 5-star review and to add it to my arsenal of lures to throw, because This thing has caught 2 fish faster than anything else that was thrown today. Huh. I'm actually lost for words. Why does this thing have a 2-star review? Oh, the old rain's coming down. It's all right. The fish are already wet. Rain won't affect them. So the nice thing is, you can kind of, since this is like floating, you kind of twitch it right below the surface, and it has that kind of vibrant like action like this, which is crazy because this thing's working better as a topwater than my buzzbait. I feel like that says a lot. There's another one. Oh, he came off! 1-star review. And how'd he come off? That was definitely my fault. That was 100% my fault. I kind of didn't really set the hook. I just kept reeling. That's all right. It's all right. That's still another bite. That was a fish I could have caught. I truly don't think that was the hook's fault. Considering I caught 2 fish in a row without them coming off, I think the hooks are fine. I think that was just my fault. But I guess let's start reviewing this thing. I mean, with a 2-star review, I honestly don't understand where that comes from. I genuinely do not know why this thing has a 2-star review. It works fine. It looks good in the water. It clearly catches fish. I don't know what else you're at. There's another one. Just in case you need to see me catch one. That'd be one right there. Look at that. Ugh. I mean, does that look like a 2-star review? I don't think so. So as always, name them in the comments. So with that fish released, let's do our review. Like I said, a 2-star review for this lure makes absolutely 0 sense. I don't know why this thing has a 2-star review. I don't know why those two reviews were disappointed, but this thing works great, swims well, catches fish, and it's perfectly intact after catching 3 fish and having, I think, like 5 bites. It looks perfectly fine. Works still perfectly fine. This lure, I'm sorry, I'm gonna give it a 5 stars. It works how it's supposed to. It looks great. It catches fish. I don't know what else to say, but a 5-star review. So the weird part about today is, review-wise, we started with the best and ended with the worst review, but with my reviews, we started with the worst and ended with the best. Because if you guys remember, that buzzbait, I gave a 1.5 stars because that thing was awful. It wasn't even working how it's supposed to. And then we reviewed the craw, which I found no issues with it, worked perfectly fine, and I gave that thing a 4 stars because it honestly deserves it. It's simple, it's easy, it caught a fish, and it just looks good, and I think it deserves a 4 stars. And then we ended with the lure that was supposed to be the worst, the 2-star review. Caught the most fish and honestly performed the best. So that's why I gave it a 5 stars. So let me know what other products I should look for in other stores, not just Walmart, Bass Pro, Dick's, Cabela's. Let me know what lures, or even Amazon. I can look at worst reviewed fishing lures. And it doesn't also have to be the worst. It could be the best reviewed. So I can go off and go find like the best reviewed fishing combo and go actually see if it's worth a 5-star review. So yeah, let me know what you guys want to see, and as always, go fishing, make memories, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.